Welcome to Common Prophets. In this post, we shall examine the secret behind the sign of Caduceus, which is used by medical professionals all over the world as a sign of good health. This sign has one rod in the middle with two snakes intertwining around it and two wings on the top. The mystery is that why should snakes be used as a symbol of health when snake is basically a very poisonous animal? The mystery is perhaps solved by looking at the Hindu system of nadis. As you can see in this picture, the Hindus visualize the spinal cord in the form of a snake which turns around and goes up in 7 turns. So these 7 turns are the 7 chakras where a large number of nerves emerge on all sides. So you can think of the Caduceus as a symbol of these nadis. The Western medical science accepts that there is one spinal cord in the middle and two nerves which are called ganglion running on the two sides of the spinal cord. The difference is that the Hindu system considers these two nerves on the sides to be intertwining, whereas the Western system considers them to be going in straight lines. Be that as it may, we can see that the symbol of Caduceus and the symbol of Hindu nadis are almost exactly the same as seen in this picture. Now, this equivalence between the nervous system and the psychic system unravels the mystery of the snake in Western scriptures. The first story is that of Eve in the Bible. God had told Adam and Eve not to eat of a particular tree, but the snake asked Eve, "Has God actually prohibited you from eating the tree?" And in asking this question, the snake put a sense of doubt in the mind of Eve. Finally, Eve decided that God had not actually prohibited from eating of the tree. She ate of the tree along with her husband Adam, and their eyes were opened and the human civilization moved forward. Now, question is, what was that snake? Obviously, the snakes don't speak with mouth. So, my understanding is that the snake that spoke to Eve was her own unconscious in the spinal cord, which was represented as the snake. Just as our unconscious puts some thoughts in our conscious mind, similarly, the snake put the thought of whether God had prohibited eating of the tree in Eve's mind, and that is what the snake represents. The next example from the Bible is that of Moses. He had gone to the mountain to worship God. At that place, God appeared to him and asked him to go back to his home in Mitzrayim and take out his people from the slavery-like conditions there. So Moses asked God that you are asking me to do such a huge work. Why would the people listen to me? So God said, I will give you a symbol. So he told Moses, please throw your staff on the ground. And when Moses threw his staff on the ground, it became a snake. Then God asked Moses, now please hold the snake from his tail. And the moment Moses picked up the snake from its tail, it again became a rod. So what is this? To my mind, the rod represents an inactive unconscious. It is stiff, stable and solid. Whereas the snake represents an active unconscious. The chakras in the spinal cord are active and they are receiving signals, they are sending signals, they are moving. And that is how God said, I will empower your spinal cord to emit psychic signals which will help you take the Hebrews out of Mitzrayim. Then the next incident is that Moses went back to Mitzrayim and he went to the Pharaoh and asked him to let the Hebrews go to the desert to worship. The Pharaoh refused Then Moses threw his staff in front of the Pharaoh on the ground, and the staff again became a snake. Then the Pharaoh called his magicians, and they threw their staff on the ground, and they too became snakes. Then there was a fight between the snakes, and the snake of Moses won against the snake of the magicians. So what is this war? My understanding is that the snakes represent the psychic power of Moses and the magicians, and like a electromagnetic field repelling each other, this psychic power was repelling each other and they were conflicting with each other, and that is what is hidden in this narrative of the fight of the snakes. Then the next narrative is that finally the Pharaoh allowed the Hebrews to go out of Mitzrayim, and while they were going to Israel, at a certain point there were a lot of snakes who bit the Hebrews. So they prayed to the God to give them some relief. So God told Moses, please make a snake of bronze and hang it on a staff high above. And the Bible says that those of Hebrews that looked at the snake, they lived, and those who did not look at the snake, they died. Now how is that possible? The story is that the Hebrews were bit by the snakes, which means they were helpless, their mind was puzzled, the coordination between their organs and their mind had collapsed, the chakras were working independently, so to say. The hand was working in a different manner, the legs were working in a different manner, eyes, ears, stomach, everything was disjointed. So when Moses asked them to look at the snake, Moses may have told them to think of the 7 chakras in the spinal cord while you look at the snake. And that thinking reactivated the connection, realigned the 7 chakras with each other, and that is how the Hebrews who looked at the snake, they lived and others died. Over a period of time, this inner meaning of the snake was lost, and King Hezekiah asked all the idols of the snakes to be broken. That was fair, because the snake itself does not have any power. The power arises by visualizing the flow of psychic power in the snake-like spinal cord, and once that had been lost, there was no meaning left to the snake. The next narrative is that during his meditation, Prophet Isaiah once saw a snake on top of his head with 6 wings. Now what could that be? We have already said that there are 6 principal chakras in the spinal cord. So these 6 wings represent those 6 chakras, and their being wing means that there are psychic waves emanating from each of the chakras which are interacting. It is like me and you being connected with 6 ropes at the 6 chakras, and these 6 chakras are represented as 6 wings. The snake obviously is the holding rod of these chakras. Now this idea seems to have been taken by the Greek people. Their god Hermes has the attributes of divination, contact with other planes of existence, and mediation between the visible and the invisible. Now these are obviously psychic phenomena, that is contacts with other planes of existence comes through your psychic evolution. So Hermes, who had these divine powers, took the Caduceus as a symbol, as you can see him holding in his hand. There are 2 wings and 2 snakes going around the staff, exactly as shown in the Hindu system. Now the living Hindu system obviously has a huge role for the snake. Lord Shiva has snakes entwined around his neck as a garland, which means that the snake or the spinal cord or the psychic system is under his absolute control. Lord Vishnu reclines on the Ksheer Sagar, the sea of milk, and has a hood of the snake. Kshir Sagar. The sea of milk here, in my assessment, represents the unconscious psychic sea, and Vishnu reclines on that with the snake being his psychic control on his chakras. The story of Krishna subduing the Kalyanag is very well known. Here again, Krishna's spinal cord was in perfect synchrony, and he could communicate with the snake, and he controlled the snake, and that is what is represented in this picture. Now the question is, how did this Hindu system of the nadis enter the biblical world? My assessment is that Mitzrayim, from where Moses led the Exodus, was actually Mathura of the Indian texts, and he left India for Israel, and he carried with him this science of the nadis. And in due course of time, this was lost, and the Western medical science remembered that this had something to do with the medical health, with the psychic well-being, and they carried that symbol only in the physical sense. So we have the Caduceus with two snakes as a physical symbol of medical good health in the West, whereas the real meaning lies in its being representative of the psychic system of the 6 chakras and the 2 nadis going around the spinal cord as shown in the Hindu system. I have published a detailed paper on this topic in the Medical Research Archives published by the European Society of Medicine, and you can find the link to that paper in the description of this video. Please do look at the paper and provide us with your most critical comments so that we can reach a consensus and move forward. Please do not forget to like and share this post, and let us hope that we will meet again soon. Thank you and have a good day.